yeah, what's very interesting, man, is that with fam, I'm looking at it and look, coming up Sunday, August the 10th at 3:05 p.m. is the Saints and the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Football. First preseason. I know it's just preseason, but hey, man, it's just fire. The training camp with all of the nuances, quarterbacks fighting for positions, a new offense being installed, a youthful quarterback, a head coach, all this stuff new, trying to find out who's going to be the guy, competitions at various position groups, defense switching from 43 to 34. Today, the defense actually won. It's just fun seeing it, man. Just seeing all of it come together, all of the changes happening, and the Saints will get an opportunity to go against to hit somebody upside the head besides their own teammates, and they'll get an opportunity to hit the Chargers upside the head, and we'll get an opportunity to evaluate each quarterback, and that's probably the kind of the coolest thing of preseason is the fact that if you actually got competitions going on, you could be able to kind of rank out who did what and where the battles are, who's ahead. Because Penning is handling his business at that guard position. He has a handle on that, and we're going to see how that sticks coming into the game, because that's one of the things to be looking at coming up soon. Now, I'm going to preview this game down into the week, but that's some of the stuff that you want to look at. Of course, obviously, the quarterback situation, right? The QB position. The second thing we'll be probably taking a look at too is the running back position. How's that going, right? How's that going? Is everything holding up the way it's supposed to be holding up in terms of that? How's that working out? We know Elvin's the guy. Kendre Miller's healthy. Can Kendre Miller kind of show us a little something in some of them games? We know Devin Neal, Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire are there. The wide receivers behind the three wide receivers, Olave, Rashid, and Cooks. What is that looking like? Who's leading there? And like I said, a lot of it right now, you can say this guy is doing good. This guy is doing good. This is when you're going to see the rank form in the preseason games, and each one builds to a conclusion. When the preseason is over with, we get guys who should take the position. So do we have anybody in the wide receivers behind the top three guys who are making some headway? Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr., Cedric Wilson Jr., Dante Pettis, Mason Tipton. Haven't heard a damn thing from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Don't mean that he won't see him. Tyree and Moochie Dixon. Can these guys step up? The tight end position, we see Michael Jacobson. Can Matavo grow there? We ain't talking about Jacobson making plays. They're talking about his blocking, not all that, which is crazy because Michael Jacobson's a big tight end. He needs to have that extra component of just blocking. A lot of these guys just won't catch. Man, you got to block too. You're not going to be run out on routes all the time. You got to be blocking. You're just a big mobile offensive lineman. That's what you are. So you got to also block and catch. So it's one before, but these are guys on the back end of the practice squad, and they're kind of not complete in their games, right? So who steps up? That's interesting. And of course, the backup line position, we talk about Penning and Dylan Redunce, and with it, the fight there, but Penning's is ahead right now running the competition. But what about the rest of these other backup positions? How are these other guys doing? And we'll see that in the preseason game when you put them in there. And then, of course, the 34 defense and all this kind of stuff, the lineups, who's playing this, that, and it's going to be just awesome all the way around, man, to see how that all shapes and moves. So a whole week of practices heading into that Charger preseason game, man, we are here. We are here. All right. Anyway, man, let's keep it going, man, on here. I'm going to kind of flash to the family members and get some questions from you guys to see how you guys are doing out there. All right. Shout out to Black Preacher, man. Says Q, I'm talking about cutting bait when Loomis is going to cut bait with Seldaveri. First of all, thank you, brother, for that. Appreciate you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world. I don't think he's going to cut bait with Nick Seldaveri, brother. I don't think you won't have a coach to come out and talk shit about Nick Seldaveri, or even say you're going to take Seldaveri and put him on the injury list, even though he's not healthy. I mean, he's not hurt. Y'all know who I'm referencing situations back before, because I think that's what you had with this one, a black preacher man. The double standard, you know? They all talk shit about Kendra Miller, but Nick Saldiveri literally and figuratively cannot stay healthy. Every year that poor man hurt. Will there be articles on should the Saints cut bait on Nick Saldiveri, open up a spot for another guy? I doubt it. I doubt it. They just don't have the same. It's not the same energy for him like they have for Kendra Miller. And they might say, well, it's draft status. Bullshit. Nick Saldiveri was placed in the starter position last year and could not keep the job. That's how you ended up with Lucas Patrick and Shane Lemieux and all these and Udo and all these fools fighting for the guard. But that's how Patrick started. Lucas Patrick should have never started for the Saints. Not in a full-time capacity. He's not no starting level offensive guard. Lucas Patrick is a backup at this stage of his career. He's a backup. He should only be in there for 3 to 4 games tops. That I'm just keeping it real. But that's because Nick Saldiveri was not available again. So at some point you gotta say, hey man, we gotta do something. But there will not be any of this. There won't be a damn thing said about Nick Saldiveri being injury plagued. Perhaps with some of the writers that listen to the show, they'll say, you know what, Q, you're right. We'll write something on it and talk about why that should be the case. Why we need to write on this guy. He's been here all these years, but we can't seem to know if he can stay available or not. Fair is fair, right? Thank you for the comment, bro. I appreciate that. All right. Big, much love to the fam, man. I appreciate y'all, Ben. Thank you, Black Preacher, man, for that. And shout out to T Mama and Muse, man, for the cash apps. Much love to y'all. Let me give y'all a thank y'all for that. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world. All right. Appreciate the queens for the cash apps, man. T Mama and Muse. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, shout out to you. All right, big ups to you. What's up, Jack? Jack says there was still good wide receivers in the third round. We took Broughton. Broughton's interesting. Broughton's not ready to go. By the way, that's why you got other guys here, because you drafted Vernon Broughton, could play either the outside or inside position in the 34. That was Bo Davis's call. That's why I was saying a lot of the scouters had Vernon Broughton available in the fourth. The Saints took him early. And he would have been there in the fourth for you, but that was a Bo Davis call. Bo Davis is the a new defensive line coach that came over from LSU. Bo Davis is phenomenal. He's an excellent recruiter. When he was at LSU, he brought us all these top-notch defensive ends. And this guy been in and out of college and to the pros, back and forth, but the Saints needed a defensive line coach. They got Bo Davis. Excellent dude. That was one of my favorite hires of the assistants to get him he's going to get it all together. But Vernon Broughton right now is not ready. He's not ready to be a starter, but it'd be something they work on later on. But you won't be sorry you drafted Vernon Broughton. You're not going to be sorry you drafted him. Trust me on that. But yeah. All right. My dog Lowe's in the building. I ain't going to lie. As a Falcon fan, I'm legit worried about Kellen Moore. Well, guess what, Lowe? You should be worried, brother. Because Kellen Moore is smart. He got his quarterback here. The Saints still have talent. The only thing that saved Atlanta a lot of times, bro, was, this, the man from out there where you from, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is not, he's not a smart head coach, not even close. He's not. A lot of the Saints' failures fall squarely on his shoulders. The dumb decision making, the bad way he handled his team. That was all on him. A lot of the losses was because of this idiot. He wasn't fast on the draw. He wasn't decisive. He was piddling. He was weak. He was dumb. He was a lot of negative things that impacted the team. And that the team is a reflection of the head coach. And every now and again, the team might win in spite of the coach, but most of the times it will not. And that's what we was dealing with. We don't have that no more, brother. So yes, indeed, you should be worried. Thank you, bro. Shout out to my dog, Lo. All right. What in the world, Bo? That's right. That's my dog. All right. All right. T-Ross, like, I don't even know how pissed I was when they got rid of Trey. I was so mad when I saw he was one. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. But the thing, like I said, they just showed a flasher here that Trey Hendrickson is to report to Cap. He been balling up there with Cincinnati. But the reality was, you can that you know what's that old saying? Like they say, how I go fam 2020. Y'all put it in the chat. What a reflection going back 20. I forgot how the saying go, but y'all know where I'm reaching at. The thing is, we can look there and say, "Hey, man, that was a bad call," because Davenport was not very good. But the whole Trey Hendrickson thing, they believed in Trey Hendrickson, but they couldn't rely on him. He was hurt every year, 1, 2, 3, and then when it got to his contract year, when he had like I don't know what he had like 15 something, 11 plus sacks. How many he had that year? Like 15 sacks or something like that. He has some ridiculous amount of sacks for the Saints, but because Cam was still worth something at that time. Meaning, I ain't no disrespect to Cam. I'm saying Cam was a threat. He was a force then, right? And they had to double down on Cam and that free Trey on the other side. So he was facing a lot of single blocking, and he was just doing what he's supposed to do: beat a single block around and get that sack. And that's what Trey Hendrickson was doing. But the question was, two questions. One, number one, could he stay healthy? And two, was that because the kind of money he wanted was to be a number one, a DE1, which is what he is now. But the question was, could he stay healthy? Was a big question because he hadn't done it for that year, and it was a contract year, so people was doubting it because of that. And two, if I paid him this kind of the big money that he wanted, could he be that good to be the one, right? Which you couldn't. And then the third thing was the Saints already drafted Marcus Davenport. They spent the first round draft pick on a guy to replace him that was sitting up there. So the Saints were already like this on Trey Hendrickson. But then he goes there and balls out, gets healthy, stays healthy, and does what he's doing. He's still fighting people for money right now. They need to go ahead on and pay him. How you get that other man who threatened to go back to college his money, but Trey Hendrickson, who been doing it, and they still having problems with? Pay the damn man. They got a guy literally threatened. He got drafted. He literally threatened the people to go back to college. They paid him. What's his name? Stewart? They paid that man. They paid him. But Trey Hendrickson sit up here still waiting for his bread. I ain't his damn agent, just saying. But in the end, man, like I said, man, that was the thing about Trey Hendrickson. They just didn't trust what he was doing in that fourth year. And it's just one of them situations where Trey says, yes, I can stay healthy. Yes, I can be a number one DE. And yes, I want the big bread. And it just happened like that. Could you imagine in reverse if that would happen, if the Saints would actually kept Trey Hendrickson? What that would have meant? We could have spent that first round pick on something else. And be spared the pick of having Marcus Davenport down here was an unmitigated disaster the whole damn way. That's right, Mr. O. That's why Kubiak didn't sign LePew. Yeah, he did.
He ain't lying.
Talk, boy.
That's right. Clint Kubiak didn't sign LePew. He took everybody else up there. He took MBS. He didn't take Shane. Shane was out there to tell you everything you need to know. That guy, man, we don't need these people down here. We don't need them. All right, KT said, Q, where's the energy for Jadeveon Clowney 2.0, a.k.a. Mr. He's never got, oh, come on. This Jadeveon Clowney. Oh, he says, the draft bus after Joe Burrow. Who are you referencing, KT? Put it in the chat. All right, thank you, OG. OG said, love the shirt. Yeah, that's the score tee my dog Lo had to wear. Say, Lo, you remember that? Let me see if I got Lo's tee. Here it is. There you go. There you go. There you go. What's up, Lo? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Lo loves it, man. Lo loves it so much he bought two of them. Thank you, Lo. Appreciate you, brother. All right. You see it, but you can spin it as a Falcon person, right? You can spin it. You can say, hey, man, listen, we beating the Saints. We beating the Saints 26-10. You can spin it. You can spin it. All right, there you go. All right. All right, he says Waters. Okay, at Water. Yeah, there you go. Waters. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, he was bad too. It was two of them back there. It was the other guy. It was two safeties for that Buddy Ryan defense. When Eric Allen was there, it was Waters and who was the other dude? Who was the other guy that was back there? It was two badass safeties back there. All right, what's up, Mr. Bonds? He says love Blackman and Reed in the secondary. Yeah, they big time, bro. We it's so fortunate the Saints lose. They lose a retiring Tyrann Mathieu and then get a Reed down here, and then immediately get Blackman because I thought they would pivot to Simmons, which the Saints brought in before. The professor said it was Waters and Dawkins. Okay. Was Brian Dawkins on? No, Brian Dawkins was on that team, that Buddy Ryan team. It was Dawkins? Really? I don't know if it was Dawkins, huh? Okay, he was okay. There you go. Yeah, Dawkins was. Yeah, I'm about to say Dawkins was way after the fact because I know it was Waters and it was another guy that was a terror. Them two safeties back there was really nice. Jack says, "Q, you think they don't want to bring in a vet QB because Kellen doing someone a favor holding on to Hainer?" Now, I think they just feel really. I accept what they're saying. I think Kellen Moore feels really confident and into the fact that he wants to have his guy. And it's one of these guys is going to lead the team into the future, right? And the Saints been playing this game where we've been getting veteran journeyman and all this kind of stuff for a while, and it's just not working. It's time for something else to happen. So just seeing that happen, I believe what they're saying insofar as that's concerned, fam. That's what I see. You know, that's what I see. I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe what Kellen Moore saying about he sees one of these guys. That's why he's giving them, as opposed to they got rid of Hunter Deckers really early. I'm like, okay, you brought Hunter Deckers in here, and they're still practicing and all this kind of stuff. But he gets Hunter Deckers out so he can be able to give more reps to the third man because Jake Haener, despite our chagrin, he's seeing Jake wanting to really see with his most senior quarterback, which is Jake Haener 3 years in, how far along in his development he is. Because Kellen Moore don't know. He don't know what we've seen over the last couple of years with Jake Haener, especially last year when he got in that game, the Washington game, and stunk it up. That first half, wasn't that the Washington game when he played that first half and didn't do nothing but a bunch of 3 and outs? You remember that? That was awful, man. No pocket presence, no leadership. Dog just not knowing what it just was awful. It was terrible. So I mean, he did he learn from that? Well, he's doing better in camp now. But let's see when we see this look good, and even though I like what I'm seeing in camp, it's a positive. I look at the positives and positive, negative, positive, but you don't really start seeing it until you put them in these preseason games. And can they orchestrate a drive successfully? Can he scan the field? Because that's the thing. You're walking up to the line, looking, and see if you can see what you can see. You ain't just looking just to look, pretending you looking at something. You're supposed to be scanning and looking at the field to see where these guys are lined up at. Where them safeties at? Maybe I need to call an audible if I see these safeties creeping up to the line of scrimmage. All those linebackers tipping like they're going to blitz me. This type of stuff. Seeing what the defense look like. And should I, and if they're crouching up to this line, should I audible to a deep throw? Take advantage of the safety dipping down here in the box? Or is it a ruse where he just dipping down here and then at the moment when I snap the ball, he's going to drop back into coverage? You're supposed to be looking at all that and be making sure your guys is lined up where they're supposed to be lined up. That's a lot to ask for, but that's why they make the big bucks. So I do think that he wants to see that, and he does see the starter out of these 3 guys. I think out of 2 guys, Buddy's giving Haener an opportunity to be seen because he don't know. That's what a real coach is supposed to do. He's supposed to have a real competition and not one where the backup, the guy wins the job and then he starts the season as a third string as opposed to the second string because that guy is a threat to your starter because he's popular, then your starter. These real coaches don't do that. That's how you know it's a little different here. So I legitimately think that he wants to know, and I think he sees a start out of all these other guys. And plus, his system fits the young quarterback because it's going to be base run. It's going to be base run. That's why you get the temperament of the line. They called out Trevor Penning and said what he was the tone setter. They're trying to give him a role. You know, what's his role? Because it damn sure ain't Cesar Ruiz. Eric McCoy is getting, his temperament is changing. He's older now. And he accruing all these injuries, but he's the leader of the line. He's the sense in the line. But you also trying to you got a young guy on the left or a young guy on the right. You got Penning been here for what? Going into his fourth year now. This is 4 years worth of Penning. 4 years. He a veteran now. He been in the league. So I got to give him a role. So he's the tone setter, meaning that like if you've seen footage of Penning, he was going up against Torricelli Simpkins and literally just pushed Torricelli Simpkins completely over. So he's big and strong, but that's the thing. Can he remember the proper technique when the game starts firing? Because they're going to target Penning. if he's fundamentally flawed, they're going to target Penning. They're going to target him. So he has to be able to retain all of the positive stuff that they're teaching him so he can keep that job. This is first time being a guard. It might be a better transition for him obviously it should be better that he plays the guard position, but he has competition from another guy for the position. So at the end of the day, we'll see how it go, man. But I accept that though. All right, King Eternal, I think we'll have a pretty good defense. Thank you, sir. All right. What's up, brother Lester? Who that to your brother? Good to see you in the chat. All right, Greg Raging Cage. What's up, bro? Says watch Chase Young going to be a monster. Chase Young is setting up for a good year. KT, I think that's what KT was hitting on. He calling the man Jadeveon 2.0. I think he talking about Chase Young. That's what I think KT talking about. Anytime KT can get us an insult on two people, he gonna insult. He don't like Chase Young and he don't like Andrus Pete. Anytime he can, he gonna throw an insult at Chase Young, and he calls him Is that Jadeveon 2.0? KT? Am I hitting on that right, brother? Am I right on that? All right, KT says, which wide receiver would you draft? Harbor from South. Yeah, I heard about him. A Smith from Ohio. I'll take Smith, bro. The guy from Harbor from South Carolina. I watched some footage on him. Pretty decent. He's a beast. But at the end of the day, you can't lose with them Ohio State wide receivers. It's just what it is. You can't lose with them Ohio State guys, bro. It's like, I don't know what they eating up there or what kind of program they teaching them, bro. But them wide receivers from Ohio State, bro, they just come to play. They just ready for the big dance, bro. They ready for the pro action, bro. They basically play in a pro style stadium all the time, pro style offenses. They just won the championship. Didn't they win the championship last year? Or was that Michigan? I'm tripping. They ain't if it wasn't last year, the year before, I forgets. But the bottom line is they are always there in that pressure cooker environment. Big people playing them, the lights and all that. They just groom for that. So I would have to rock with Jeremiah Smith, man. All right, Bishop, what's up? Says Q. You aren't surprised your favorite online is on. Yeah, you talking about Mr. Shane, not Nick Seldeveri. Yeah, I talked about that. I talked about that early on, my fam. I just think that the man, I don't know what he need to do. All I know is your best ability. They tell me that best ability is availability, and the man not there. The man is not there. He not there. He not there. The first year hurt. The second year hurt. This is his third year or his fourth year. I forget. But each year he been hurt. They gave him the job last year to start, and he got hurt this year. Before he had this knee injury, he was hurt in the OTAs. He had some kind of calf issue. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you're reporting on him as hurt, right? But please treat it with the same intensity and consistency that you did with Kendre Miller. That's all I'm asking. Don't screw the double standard. Remember how Dennis Allen would target that man and say, you, and all this bullshit, but don't mean. I say, what about Nick Elderberry? Kendra Miller, in the limited amount of shit he did, he played more games than that guy. Your best ability is your availability is your best ability. That guy's never there. At some point, you got to say, man, we got to cut this off. He was supposed to be a guy that played multiple positions. We have not gotten any value out of this man. You know, no disrespect. But at the end of the day, it simply is what it is. You got to play. What's up, Bishop? Shout out to you, bro. All right, Jack says maybe our medical staff spending too much time on these players that are always hurt, that they can't focus on keeping everybody healthy. I don't know. I think most of the time we see it as, the medical staff is, supposed to be changing with Tom Rath coming in and how they treat these people's injuries. But right now, to be honest with you, with all of the stuff that we've seen, it's been the Saints have been fortunate because we went through all of the practices of the offseason, and this is the big camp. Big camp, we here now. But you went through OTAs, you went to the involuntaries, all these other stuffs. You went through all these, rookie mini and you've been basically spared of injuries or all this kind of stuff up until this point. This guy literally, 10 days into camp is the first IR injury the Saints have. Now, you did have something that happened with Will Clapp where he got rolled up on, but Kellen Moore says that it ain't nothing serious. That he will let you know an update probably tomorrow or the day after. Right? So we haven't seen the IR injuries. He's the first. But if you had put your money on something, if somebody had asked the question, I'd have won some money. If somebody asked, hey, Q, who you think? I bet you $100. I would have won some money. I promise you that much. I just hope the man get back right, man. But, like I said, you got to be healthy to play. Pete says, who that Q? Much love, bro. Thank you. He says, doesn't get hectic. Yeah, I hope it don't get hectic, Pete. Shout out to Pete, man. All right. English says, it's nice to be hopeful and have anticipation this year again. After a month of being fed possum, the future wasn't a mystery anymore. Indeed, it was I told family, man, I was like, fam, listen, the last 4 years were really difficult. It was really difficult because that guy was a fraud. He wasn't who we thought, he wasn't a good coach. And then you had the leadership who had the power to keep him in place, not because he was a winner, because that's what he wanted to do, despite the results. And he would literally tell you, look past your results or look past whatever that dumb shit he said. Y'all be saying dumb stuff. Oh, hold on now. Look past the results. Don't believe your lying eyes. Oh, hold on. I'm the great guy. Oh. No. You can't keep these guys here if they're not winning. You're not paying them. That money ain't coming from you. It's coming from us. So if we want them to go, you going to get rid of them. And that's what we did. He didn't like that. But he got to be taught a lesson that you ain't nothing unless we say you something. If we want that guy out of here, we'll get him on up out of here. And didn't you get him out of here? Then you shot right past him and got Gale to get that guy out of here. You showed your power. And I'm proud of the Who Dat Nation for that. I've been saying that for a while. I was like, fam, I've been building that up for years to get that fool out of here. And the family says, you got to go. And Gail says, sorry, you got to go. I can't let you get in the way of my damn money. And they put him in the street. Besides, old boy was begging to keep him. It didn't work. All right. Shout out to y'all, man. All right. Low. Justin says, man, why they a dirty bird in the show? Hey, bro, everybody listen to the Coma, man. We got love for all my peoples, man. Big Low is family, man. Big Low fam, bro. Big Low got a Saints hat and all that shit in his closet somewhere. Big Low is a undercover Saints person, man. He love all that shit. Low be down here eating all this food and eating. Already know. Low be down here eating all this good food. My dog be coming true. My dog he know. Low, we got Low's soul is a Saints man, brother. He is. Low be down here eating that good food, man. Low is an undercover Saints man, bro. Let me tell y'all. So let me break it to you. Breaking news. All right. Shout out to y'all. English says, Q, do you think Possum was hiding his true nature while taking orders from Peyton? It's obvious that he didn't learn a damn thing from. Nah, it was all on him, bro. And Coach Peyton wouldn't have done that. Would have told the man if the backstab is. Who does that? Coach Payton ain't tell that man, hey man, well, Arthur Smith or whatever that fool name was, walk up to you angrily, cussing at you, that you grab both sides of his stomach like he was pregnant, and then you tell him, hey, you know what, you're absolutely right. You right. While he's cussing and spewing and spitting at you and calling you everything but a child of God, you sit up there shaking and say, you're absolutely right. And you're right. And then you got Rizzy behind him, fussing and cussing and spitting back at him. Rizzy should have been the coach, and he was for a little bit. But that's what happened. But he didn't fight for his team. You're like, you're absolutely right. No. There was no rule in that wasn't a flag. That's why they didn't throw a flag. That's not a rule. If you want the rule to be that, then you get them to change it. It's a gentleman's agreement. No, this is football. I would if they're trying to sneak me on the goal line play, right? It's the last play of the game, and you're in a rivalry with your most hated rival team. They're liable to do anything. They knock your quarterback down on cheap plays and poke at your eyes and shit. You know, they do all that stuff. They do all that old stuff, right? Don't they? They do all that crap. You got your heated rival here. Who gonna sit up here and tell them why you do that? And they asked you to listen. It ain't like they just disobeyed and it's like, listen, man, we want to get the man a touchdown, such and such. It was a noble gesture. It's the Falcons. If it was reversed on the Falcon side, they would have done the same damn thing. I know they would. So he told them no, they did it. Now they were wrong for him saying, but that just show you how much respect they got for him. James Winston said, man, F that guy, man, let's go run the play. And got him the touchdown. Now, he could have lambasted them in the locker room and say, hey, man, y'all don't do that. But don't come to the outside to the public and say, man, they did that on their own. Oh, they did that on their own. Well, Coach Smith said, he's right to be mad. He literally sided with the Falcons against his own team. We should have never heard about any of that until way into the offseason when it didn't matter, when it was just a story on the board somewhere. This idiot went out here and took the Falcons people's side against his own team, threw them under the bus and blamed them for it. I had nothing to do with it. They did it. Oh, that's a real leader right there. That's a guy right there that I would love to play for. That's what he did. And he did other stuff, but that's why he was a joke. Who does that but an idiot, a moron, a chump, a simpleton? But that was the guy they said was the leader of the team to take you somewhere? Man, no. Hell no. Hell no. He did that against his own team, against the Falcons. Come on, man. Who does that, man? That's why I say hasta la vista to your ass. I'm so glad. And then the quarterback left. And we right back where we need to be, baby. We don't need nobody. We good. We all right. All right. 0017 says, Q, how about Shuck sitting a year and letting Rattler start? Bro, a lot of people talked about Spencer going, like we talked about going into the off season. We mentioned it. We said, hey man, listen. A lot of people had Tyler Shuck, and they still have it set where he's the starter because, you know, it's just a guess. It's unofficial. But it's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult for a guy like Tyler Shuck. Fam, people talk about, and listen, this is so unfair because I heard Tyler tell John Gruden this, and I want to correct that because it's not the same. Tyler Shuck did not play 7 years in college. He might have been in college for 7 years, but he didn't play 7 years. Bo Nix played the majority, if not all of his time in college, whether it was with Auburn or he transferred a couple of times. He ended up with Oregon. But Bo Nix played all of those years. You had a guy like, what's his name? Gabriel, the guy the Browns drafted. He had a 7 or 8 year college career. He's super, what you call them? Super seniors or whatever. This guy played the majority of his. Those guys played the majority of their years there. That's why a guy like Bo Nix goes into the NFL, right? With almost 2 years, we're almost like two terms. Like if you look at 4-year increments of like if you sign on as a quarterback, if you a 4-year guy, he had almost 8 years. I think it was 7 or 8 years in college playing football. Bro. Listen, how many years does it take? We got his doctor, one of our doctors in the chat. We got several doctors that listen to the show. How long did it take you guys to get y'all degree? 7, 8 years? 8 years? The guy he was in college. Them guys was in there 7, 8 years, and Bo Nix was playing football the majority, if not all of that time. And the thing about that is you with 7 to 8 years of football playing in college, you are developed, right? You are developed. That's a different type of thing than a guy like a Tyler who played 1 full year. Like he might have played and got hurt. He played and got hurt. He got played and got hurt. Then he backed up this guy, and then he transferred over here and then started a whole year. The man might have been in college for 7 years and he's smart, but he only played 1 solid full year of football. You can't say because he played 7 years, he was in school for 7, he played 1 year of really worthwhile football. He had a very good year. And at the end of the day, the man is going to make the trek into the NFL and be a starting NFL quarterback just like that. And you got Spencer Rattler sitting there. And that's what I was telling you. Spencer Rattler got the chip on his shoulder. I know Tyler has it too, but it hits differently for Spencer because Spencer thought he should have been higher and he got picked up in the 5th round. People telling Tyler he should have went lower, but he got picked up higher than what they said. So the chip fits differently. You see what I'm saying? So it's more like validating that this is where I'm supposed to be versus what Spencer saying, this ain't where I'm supposed to be. So it's 2 different ways of motivation coming. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Spencer Rattler ain't the type of guy you can overlook and say, hey, man, Tyler's going to come in here and run over Spencer Rattler. He ain't Jake Haener. No disrespect to Jake Haener. I'm saying Spencer Rattler is a guy that was considered one of the best college quarterbacks in his time. He had some uncomfortableness. They talked about that little video that came out about him and all this kind of stuff. And that really would hurt him. That video hurt him well into his career coming into the pros. So he playing with that chip on his shoulder to prove not only to himself, but the rest of the world, hey, man, this is where I belong. And he operates with that mindset. So he ain't going to be that's not going to be an easy win for you. Just keeping it all the way funky with you. When you going against a person like that competitive, that's never an easy win. Because regardless of not, he's going to win regardless because he's going to do more. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And he ain't going to waste time arguing about who's better. And then, you see what I'm saying? He ain't going to feel like you have a disagreeable quarterback competition like what you seen what happened with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Or even with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. When he didn't help Jordan and Brett didn't help Rodgers. They don't have that going on where they don't like each other. Them guys are actually it's a respectable battle where they're helping each other win the job. And Spencer, right now, to my estimation, even though Tyler had a really good day today, I'm thinking that in the end, Spencer Rattler is still in the lead. And when we get through this week into the preseason game, watch Spencer Rattler start first. He'll start first, and we'll see if he can maintain that, right? That lead, because it starts now. We're getting close. But like I said, it's a difficult thing when you got a guy that comes out there. But that's the differentiation that I wanted to make mention of because I heard him say something about that. It's different. You got a guy that played 7. It played is the key word. And he was in the games. Bo Nix played a lot of games in college, a lot of games. And he was in there, and I don't mean at some small school. He was in like really good schools, and he was going against teams in very competitive environments. So he developed his football IQ, his all this kind of stuff is really high. Just imagine if guys stayed in college to learn a quarterback position for 5-6 years. When they come out, they're going to be really extra developed. That's what I'm saying. That's way overdue. Let me tell you, 4 years is normal. This guy was in there for 7, 8 years. He almost had a whole nother 4-year term. He's beyond developed for the position, but it's not the same. It is not the same. Thank you, bro. Shout out to you. Brother Byron says, Q, I hate, he says, they brought Shane Lemieux. Oh, yeah. He says, prove himself better. Yeah. I don't like the Shane Lemieux. I don't like the Shane Lemieux signing, but like I said, this takes solace in this, right? It's a different offensive line coach, right? We know Brendan Nugent's here. He's an offensive line coach. Different offensive line coach means should be different result, right? We should see a better version of this player if we got a better offensive line coach, right? So that's the difference. So that's the bit of solace that I can offer the family members who don't like Shane Lemieux because he was terrible here last year, just like Ali Udo was and many of these other backup guys. But to see them back here with a different staff, maybe they get more out of Landon Young. Maybe they get more out of Cesar Ruiz. Maybe they get more out of most of these other guys. That's all I can offer, right? It's supposed to be different people, maybe a different result. I don't, we'll see, Was it Wes Hopkins? KT said it was Wes Hopkins. Thank you, KT. Shout out to you, brother. What's up, Bev? Shout out to Beverly. Shout out to the Queens out there. Much love, Bev. Good to see you. All right, Justin says Blackman low-key been nice, unexpected but nice. Need to get Jonas, some play time also, though. Guy has I seen the film, what you talking about, bro. Yeah, that guy flies around, and listen, if you watch his football film in college, he was doing similar things. Now, I like Jonas Sanker. I like that out of Virginia, but I like the other safety a little better, Xavier Watts, who was available too. I think the Falcons got Xavier the pick after us or a few picks later. But that's who I was looking at because Xavier Watts makes plays. He moves the same kind of way, but he gets picks. He was like the leader on the back end of that Notre Dame defense. Xavier Watts makes plays, but he also gets picks. And that's the thing about he got a nose for them interceptions. And I was like, man, we got to get a playmaker back there. But the Saints chose Jonas. I'm not mad at that. He knock your block off and he's a smart player, but I think it's a positive, man. We got a good one in. All right. Yeah. All right. Big ups to y'all. Read y'all comments. Y'all crazy, man. All right. Yeah. Chase Young is 13 and a half sacks, says 504. KT don't like that. KT, don't say that, bro. KT ain't going to like that. My dog 504 Coach says Chase Young will have 13 and a half sacks this year. KT call that man Jadeveon Clowney 2.0. And Jadeveon Clowney has some decent years, KT. All right. Is he his cousin? I didn't know that. I did not know that. I didn't know that, bro. That's new. All right, KTC 100%. Chase Young is Jadeveon Clowney 2.0. Always hurt. Never had over 7.5 sacks in his career. And he finessed Mickey out of $17 million a year. Stop me when I lie, Q. Bo Davis isn't a miracle worker. Okay. Maybe that changes this year, KT. I mean, you can't see nothing with the man Chase playing at the linebacker position. Shit don't change. The 34 defense ain't gonna help Chase. Man, listen, bro. And it's just practices early on. So I can't disagree with what you're saying on a lot of this. All I can say is still early on. And that 34 look. I mean, I was watching the practices, not on just Chase, but Granderson too. Them guys look different. They look, especially Chase Young. It's like a challenge to Chase. He be moving around. The dude was batting the ball down, making play. I'm like, damn. This change is good for those guys, big guys, because, Curl and Chase Young, athletic big guys that you can drop them back, and play them. They can move around, this type of stuff. And Staley going to try to do it. So maybe, and I know Jadeveon Clowney playing the 34 defense too, but, he has some decent years, man. So, we're going to see, brother. We're going to see. What's up, Jason? He said, hey, give us a Mickey in I just did, bro. Not too long. Oh, why now? Goddamn it. Why now? You guys ain't qualified. He always like to tell you ain't qualified. All my reporter people out there, Mickey Loomis says you're not qualified to talk about his GMing. his GMing abilities and stuff, his skills. When the ESPN told him that he had the reporter asked him about the ESPN article that said that Saints had the worst depth chart in the NFL. Would he like to comment? You know, Mickey say, "Oh, that's nothing. You know, I know they're not qualified. You know, I mean, they need to buy their qualifications from MakeSlickMickey.com. You know that he tells everybody not qualified. I never heard that before. I never heard nobody, general manager, even VP, get on the mic and tell people they're not qualified to talk about his team. What you need to have to be qualified to talk about the Saints? Tell me, because that's news to me, Mickey. Well, I know, goddammit. I'll tell you, goddammit. I'll tell you, you got to go to slickmickey.com and you'll get your qualifications there. Oh, no, we won't. We ain't going to do that. We ain't falling for that scam, Mickey. Man told the people, they're not qualified. And he said that the year before that. I said, look at this over cocky buffoon telling people they're not qualified to talk about stuff. What are you talking about, bro? It's crazy, man. Like I said, man, crazy. He's out of his new. How you not quiet? You tell a reporter that was an ESPN article. Should you don't have whoever it was don't have reporter credentials? I know whoever it is, they hired by ESPN. You gotta have some type of credentials in the degree, maybe a couple of them. Well, that's not good enough. God damn it! Oh, I know you. I ain't going to Slick Mickey University. Oh, it's a university now, huh? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Not qualified to talk about the Saints and his team. Oh my goodness! See, he just only wants positive press. All his moves that he make is the right moves. This kind of stuff, and that don't already go right. That ain't always the case. You're going to make some bad moves. The thing about it, he never admits it. You think he going to admit to when the day he fly out of here that he, that the Dennis Allen move was bad, the Derek Carr move was bad? He'll never admit to that. He ain't a truthful type person like that. You're like, you know what, man? Oh, I know, guys, man. This is the closest you're going to get to it. Oh, I called this press conference. Oh, I know. I'll turn it out. Where's my gum? I called this press conference to admit that I made a mistake. Hold on. I hired Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, and I shouldn't have done it. I apologize to the entire Who Dat Nation, and you guys were right and I was wrong. You never get that. You won't. That's the closest you gonna get to it right there. You ain't gonna never get that. He still sit up there saying, "Well, I know Dennis Allen's a great coach." He didn't he say that? Derek Carr, we love Derek, and Derek was a great quarterback. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You make a bad move. The guy's out here. We had to fix it for you, but that's all right. Don't do it again. That's all I'm saying. What's so hard about that? KT says, Q, Herbert was arguing with Shuck, and Shuck then transferred to Texas Tech, then to Louisville. I know a lot of times he didn't play. See, but the reason why I said that is because the development, even though Tyler's older, the age is still there. He just didn't play. He didn't take the reps, live game reps. He didn't get the live game bullets. Now, it's a difference insofar as the development, because that's how you develop. You can be a practice warrior. We've seen the Saints have a ton of practice warriors that come through here. Nick Toon was a good in practice. What was the all-time practice warrior the Saints had was Brandon Coleman. No, is it Brandon Coleman? Yeah, wasn't it Coleman? The dude was a super duper uber practice warrior, but when it came down to the games, he literally disappeared. Thank you, KT.
I want to say thank you very much for picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Brandon Coleman. How about that name for you? All right. Yeah, I know, bro. You said, yeah, I don't think he's ready either, bro. And it's okay to my Shuck people out there. It's okay. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to get better. He's going, and that's the cool part about the game with Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and even Jake Hayner. Those guys help each other, right? So if Spencer does win the starting job, and if God forbid injuries hit where Spencer have to miss some games, Tyler Shuck will step in there. You see what I'm saying? It helps the team. Now it's a great competition for who gets the job, but it only makes the team better when you got guys like that because they help and prepare each other for winning, because it's ultimately a team game. These guys are not working with like just all, it's an ego involved. Let's not be, twisted, because they'll try to say the team is over the this type of thing. That's rhetoric that a coach would use to galvanize the team to buy into the team concept. That shit don't apply when they're looking for contracts. When it's time to get paid, that guy over there saying, "Hey man, I want what he got." Chris Olave, you damn sure believe that when Chris Olave sit at that table across the way from Mickey Lomas, he gonna use Garrett's Wilson contract, the guy from the Jets. He gonna use his contract as as an example of what he want. Watch. It ain't I when we getting paid, but after you got paid, then becomes we. That's how it go. I'm just telling it how it go. But in the end, I like what these guys are, because there's no animosity between Spencer or Tyler or Jake. And they all working together to help each other to be great, and may the best man win. It just so happens Spencer Rattler is ahead of the curve. He used his time in the NFL wisely, to make correct the errors, pick up the system to understand. He probably was calling people in the off season, like KT mentioned, the relationship and him talking to Jalen Hurts, calling him, picking his mind. He was hanging out playing golf with Pat Mahomes. You think they're just drinking and talking shit? He picking Pat. I guarantee you that, man. If you got Pat Mahomes, a $200 million quarterback, isn't he like $200 million? And seen as the best quarterback in the business, so you playing golf with him. I ain't picking his brain about the QB position. And I'm a QB that ain't got mine yet. And I'm chilling with Pat. Man, come on, man. I'm telling you, that's how it works. They're going to pick up any little bit of information that it can get that can help them get better and do better. That's how you win. That's how you win, baby. All right. All right, fam. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all hit the like button for me, man. King Chosen once said, I'm worried about the backup wide receivers. Them dudes is trash. I don't think Bub Means is trash, bro. Donovan Peoples, Jones, Mason, Tipton. I don't think those guys are trash, bro. I just think nobody ain't really stepping up like that right now, but we're still a lot of time, right? I ain't gonna say they trash, right? I mean, I seen a little bit from my guy said they trash. You worried. All right. Okay. I got you, bro. I got your concerns, bro. Jay says, get low. Yeah. The win Atlanta. Yeah. Oh yeah. Low, man. We shout out to my dog. I keep that picture on tap, bro. When my dog pop in, bro. That right there is cool. All right, KT said, Q, I never had a problem with Grandis. I know you don't. You just got, you don't like Chase and Andrews. Andrews ain't on the team. Says a fan as his Wyoming, as far as Chase is, when you drafted in the top 5, guy was number 1, wasn't he? Top 10, you supposed to be a C, a B, a star, or I get what you're saying. Yeah, he says, Mickey, you not qualified, yeah, I know. That's what Mickey said. Didn't he say it? I ain't make it up. Rattler starred the first preseason game, Shuck the second game, Henry the next. I see the best man for the job. Indeed. Who do you guys have? What's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my brother T Dirty, man. Much love, bro. All right. Yeah, I get what you're saying with Bosa, Khalil Mack. Yes, indeed. This is a good point. KT, this is the best point you made about Chase Young. This is a great point. When you drafted in the top 10, you're supposed to make an instant impact. Bosa brothers, Khalil Mack, Von Miller, LT, Mika Parsons, and Young and Clowney went 1 and 2 overall. They're trash. Okay, bro. I guess I'm still not in on it. I mean, didn't Jadeveon Clowney have a decent couple years with the Carolina Panthers? I mean, when he was with shit, he was playing with JJ when he was with the Texans. Wasn't he opposite of JJ Watt? I think his thing was he was doing all right, but then he kept getting hurt. I think that was the thing with him. But I think he did have a few years in there where he balled. But as far as Chase Young is concerned, yeah, I get what you're saying. Chase Young has a similar injury history, the potentiality, him coming out of Ohio State, he was deemed as the guy. But the thing about it is, the Saints get this guy, right? This is a number one. That guy wasn't Chase number one? He was a number one overall drafted player that year. And KT gonna build his house on that, man. I'll tell you what about Chase Young. Let me get him on screen right here. Because Chase Young, to me, I think Chase Young is gonna be that guy, man, for the Saints. That's just what I think. I think he's gonna be that guy. Yeah, he was second overall 5 years ago from Washington, from the Whataburgers. Yep, from Ohio State, 26 years of age. Let's see. What is his total right here? Let me see if I can find this right here for KT. KT. Hold on here. How many sacks? 22 sacks. Okay. And 23. He had 9. KT. He had, 9 sacks? No, 10 sacks. In that 23 year, when he first came to New Orleans, he had 2.5 with San Fran. And then he had 7.5 with the Saints in his first year. Right? Then 5.5 last year. Now, prior to that, he had 5 sacks in 2023. He ain't have no sacks in 2022 because he was mostly hurt. His first year, he shot out the boot, 7.5. The second year, he played 9 games, had a sack and a half. So he had a sophomore jinx. Third year, he got hurt. Fourth year, he came back and played only 7 games. He was banged up, but still gave you 5 sacks in 7 games. They got rid of him. He ended up with San Fran. He played 9 games in San Fran. He had 2.5 sacks. Then he came to New Orleans in the trade, had 7.5 sacks. So altogether, the man had 9 sacks that year? 10 sacks combined? And then he had 5.5 last year. What, that's 15.5 sacks? What, because that's what. So was you looking at the overall body of work, KT? He played in what? 16 total games the year before, not last year, the year before, 2023. 16 games. He had 2.5 sacks for the Niners. And 7.5. I think it said total is 7.5. Okay, so it's 7.5. So he had 7.5 and 5.5 between those last few years. So, I mean, bro, that's actually better than what he did any other time in a 2-year increment and anywhere else. You know, the 4 years in Washington, the 2 years that he's been affiliated with the Saints, he's been producing. So, I mean, what do you think about that? These are the stats. I got them here. So in the 2 years that he's been with New Orleans, he's actually been producing better than any 2-year period throughout his career. So does that buy him any? Does that buy Chase Young any help in KT's world? I don't know. I'm just throwing the stats at you, my brother. KT don't like the man. All right. I don't know what KT. You don't like the man. Jack says Cedric Wilson. I don't know, bro. I lost faith in Cedric Wilson. Reginald says Saints need to stay healthy. Indeed, bro. Justin says if I had to choose, I would choose Olave, Shaheed, Cooks, Tipton, and Means. Toss up for 6 if we can keep 6. Haven't seen nothing about Peoples, Jones yet, or even Means since the beginning. Yeah, they had a little stuff about Means. Bub Means had a few plays he was making, bro. It wasn't nothing to be like, oh, man, did you see what Bub Means do? Nah, it ain't nothing like that. But it's Kellen Moore's vision for Bub Means could mean something different, right? I think, here's some of the receivers right here. We're talking about the receiver group right here. I mean, who would you guys keep? I don't think the Saints keep 6 wide receivers. I think probably 5 would be more likely. But we already know Olave, Rashid, and Brandon Cooks are going to be kept. Bub Means more than likely is going to be the other guy. And whoever the 5th guy is going to probably end up. And if I had to say, who would be? I think it would be Bub Means and Dante Pettis. That's who I think the 5 would be. If you keep 6 of them, then we probably could throw Cedric Wilson Jr. in there, or perhaps something like that. But if you're basing it on what's going on now, who's balling, it'll be probably Mason Tipton who making the plays. And you need a guy who's a returner. And the reason why I put Dante Pettis in there, because he's a kick returner, a punt returner. Who's the return people? Out of the wide receivers, who the return people? Because that's the guy that's occupying the 5th position in terms of the wide receiver. I mean, in the wide receiver room is more than likely going to be a returner of some sort. And we also know that Velus Jones Jr., y'all seen the interview from Velus. Velus was seen as a wide receiver. They have him converted to a running back, but Velus Jones Jr. out of the University of Tennessee is supposed to be a returner. So that's also something we keep an eye on, is who's the return people. Because you don't want Rashid Shaheed to be the guy because he's too important to your offense. So that means Dante Pettis, who probably has the most, out of the reserve wide receivers, the best record in terms of being a returner, what he did in college. Mason Tipton, I didn't see Mason Tipton as much as a return man. So, I mean, who else do you have? That's how you make the team. If you're Mason Tipton, Dante Pettis, Velus Jones Jr., you make it as a returner, a contributor to special teams. JT Gray got banged up. So, I don't think it's nothing serious, but in the end, that's how you make the teams based on your special teams play if you bury it in a depth chart like these guys are. So if I had to say, I would say Olave, Rashid, Cooks, Means, and Pettis. If they keep 6, you might throw Mason Tipton in there, or depending. But I was thinking, I haven't heard anything from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Not a damn thing. He's been real quiet. Him and Kevin Austin Jr. Kevin Austin Jr. haven't heard anything from him. So, but that could change. Like I said, this could change coming into the weeks leading into the preseason, where these guys start trying to make some noise for themselves. All right. Cartel says, Q, if we drafted Jeremiah Smith, would you consider trading Olave? That's a great question. Man. I like Chris Olave, man. I don't know if I would pay him $20 million if the injuries kept hitting him. Because listen, Chris Olave deserved that paper, man. He deserved to get paid. He's been a good wide receiver for a long time for the Saints. The guy, like, I got his profile right here on screen. Chris Olave been a phenomenal receiver for the Saints for a while, right? The man coming, like you say, you can see right here, picked 11th overall in 2020. Yeah, he been a phenom for the Saints. Coming up on this year, look, 72 catches, right? 72. The man had 72 catches in his first year. He had 87 catches in his second year, and last year he had 32 because he was hurt. He only played in 8 games. But he averaged, look at his average per catch. He had 14 and a half his first year, 12, almost 13 the second year. And despite the fact he played 8 games, he still averaged 12.5 yards per catch. That means every time Chris Olave got the ball, it was more than the first down. So he has a gift there, right? How you utilize him. But then, like those years you've seen, the 2022 year, how you use them in the capacity in comparison to a possession guy, got a lot of value. 87 catches, fam, was really a solid mark. And 1,100 yards worth of catch in the second year. That second year, in your sophomore year, you do that. You have 87 grabs, 1,100 plus yards, average 13 yards per catch, and have 5 touchdowns in your sophomore year. The slump did not impact Chris Olave. But like I said, he has the injury concerns of the concussions, which cut his year short last year. He could very well have easily had another 70 catch year. But the Saints, do you pay Chris Olave $20 million a year, whatever Wilson got? It's going to be interesting to see, man, how it all lines up. But I would, if I had to, I would try to see to be honest with you, bro, I would try to keep both of them, to be honest. I'll try to keep both of them if I could. Because Smith would be really good. And Chris Olave would be awesome. You have that Ohio State connection, right? I don't know if the Saints would keep all of them and Rashid Shaheed. I know Brandon Cooks is on a 2-year deal. So at some point, you got to make a move on some of these people. But Chris Olave, man, The big question mark for 25 is Chris has to stay healthy, man. He has to stay healthy to get paid. But I will see if I could try to keep both of them, bro. I wouldn't trade Chris Olave, if I could help it, because he's fantastic. It's a great. This is a solid wide receiver. Just he got these concussion things. People hit him upside his head, man. You can't control that. But it's just I don't want to give up no. What's up, Carla? Shout out to Carla. Yeah, Velas. All right, she said Velas. You think Velas will be the returner? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's true too, Jack. Pettis is a good deep threat too. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, these people are interested, man. Let's see. Yeah, Moochie. Yeah, KT says Moochie and Chris Tyree and Marcus Yarns return kicks in college. Yeah, we'll see if any of them dudes. We talked about the Marcus Yarns thing. If any of these guys, and that's probably why the Saints got him here, because they see them as not so much guys to help them in the wide receiver room as far as that's concerned, because they got guys there, but for depth purposes. But when you're on the back of the depth chart, like some of these other men are, your only hope to the team is special teams. So we'll see if any of them could mean anything. All right. Jack says if we draft a single position every year, then it will take years to build a wide receiver room. So you have to pay Olave and shorten the contract or add them void years. That's to make it Loma special, baby. You know that. But we need a big physical wide receiver that operates next to Chris Olave. In that, like I said, I was confused by the Brandon Cooks thing, but also remember the Saints were looking at Gabe Davis. They were looking at him. What were they looking at Gabe Davis for? This was well after Brandon Cooks was signed. Well, was Gabe Davis wasn't the guy that was gonna, Gabe Davis comes in, he trying to compete, he trying to take a spot. This guy's like a really good wide receiver. So if I'm the Saints, why I'm looking at Gabe Davis? What's the purpose of that? You see what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I we'll see how it all works, man. What kind of thing with Kellen Moore got going on, man? We shall see. We shall. Yeah, we need a physical guy. Yeah, I agree, bro. That's what we was doing. That's what the hell we was doing. Well, anyway, fam, listen, man. It's going to be interesting, man, leading up to the season. But look, today was a good day for the Saints. They got their scrimmage in. Kellen Moore was able to get in there and talk about it. A lot of positive stuff happened in camp today. The scrimmage, 126 plays were called live plays, which was kind of took the quarterbacks kind of simulated live game action. They didn't know what was going on. Kind of threw a little mix in there to keep it twisting and turning. So camp's live. Like this is the first year we've seen where a lot of really positive stuff is kicking off. The nuances of new quarterbacks, certain position groups. We're looking to see who's going to be where and when. The formation from 43 to 34 on the defensive side. The punter battle, that's also something that a lot of people are not talking about, with the Saints adding that new punter, Kai Kroger, along with Burnup and the other punter that we have. So it's just these little battles all across the place, man. Like Blake Grupe is definitely winning his battle. Charlie Smith not nearly as accurate as he needs to be, and look like maybe things could change. It's still very early on, but Blake Grupe handling his business against Charlie Smith, Matt Hayball, Burnup, and Kai Kroger. 3 punters battling for the spot. A 3-punter battle is happening. The Saints are not impressed with Matt Hayball. So Burnup and Kai Kroger could possibly be guys that push him out of here. Good seeing what our secondary doing. Good seeing what up front to see if the Saints could stop the run. Defense did win the day-to-day. A lot of these practices, defenses have shown up. So, I mean, as we continue, we'll see how the Saints keep scoping and moving this thing. But right now, very positive. Very positive. We got a week away from the next matchup. The Saints have the first preseason game, August the 10th, at SoFi Stadium at 3:05 p.m. Saints first game. That's next Sunday coming up. Saints will be in Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. The first of 3 preseason games. And then after that, we got a short jump and hop to the regular season, man. So it's going to be fun this all season watching all this happen, man.